What are some of the first constraints that you would recommend implementing into your life to, make more money in your business?
The most basic one would be setting your own dollar per hour. And I don't mean what you would charge somebody else. You take the amount of money that you take home net after taxes, profit, and divide it by the hours you work in a year. That's what your hourly rate really is. And most people just say their hourly rate as in that's what I'll charge somebody else. But if you're charging another person your time, it should be because that's how much you're worth during that hour, which means that you should be making that money if you weren't working with that person. So you need to decide, what is my dollar per hour? And so I think when I Googled it one time, the average US business owner, say their dollar per hour is like $250, something like that. And I remember reading Naval Ravikant, if you know who he is. He wrote the Almanac, right? Another great book. And he said that even back before he was making any money, and he's incredibly successful today, he said his dollar per hour is $5,000 an hour, right? So that was like the constraint he wanted to create in his life. And so I made mine $5,000 an hour. Like if you wanted to work with me one-on-one and do an hour of my time, it's $5,000, right? And so a lot of people, that's insane, but people also do pay me that all the time. And so I wouldn't say that I'm at the point right now where every hour that I work, if you take my net profit divided by the hours, is at $5,000 an hour. I actually haven't done that math in a while. But I think that if someone's listening to this right now, decide what your hourly rate should be. So if you say, let's say, for example, I want it to be $500 an hour, well, then you either increase the amount of money that you're making when you're working, or work less so that your dollars, your hours worth more, or do both at the exact same time. That's the dream situation. That's, I think, where I'm at right now, where compared to when I first started, I'm working way less than I was, but obviously I'm also making way more money than I was back then. So that's a great first constraint, because everything else will come from that, right? So you'll decide, okay, should I still do, when I first started my agency, I was driving to real estate agents in my local area. I mean, it would be like an hour drive, then an hour drive back. And so that's 3 hours to make one pitch. And so what if I instead just did a Zoom call, right? Which now is totally cool, but this is back in 2019, and I'm in a local area that's like the small beach town where everything's 10 years behind. So it was weird asking people to get on a Zoom call with me so I could close the deal. Also, even deciding what kind of offers or services you're going to sell. So if you're trying to sell a low ticket digital product and it's $7, and you got to spend this time in this community, and you're spending 10 hours a week answering questions every single time, like, are you making as much money as you could? That's why I'm a huge fan of high ticket. Recurring is another, like, could you add a recurring business model in there? So you have to acquire a client one time, and then they continue to pay you over and over and over again, a lot of times for less work than when they first started paying you. So it's like, if you can decide your constraint on your dollar per hour, then almost everything else in your business will fall into place, and you'll have to start thinking a lot about leverage and how I can get more from my outputs than I currently am.
If you want my help installing any of these systems in your business done for you, be sure to book a call with my team down below.